Hello, I'm Tom Clark, and in today's program we're going after the worst of the worst. The low-life scum that stalk, injure, and kill unsuspecting, hardworking people. People like you and me, simply trying to make a living and take care of our family. Our prey today are those culprits who instigate and contribute to injuries and fatalities in workplaces and homes all over the world. In today's program, we will highlight their tendencies and modes of operation through undercover interviews, victim statements, and reenactments. All this so these injury instigators can no longer lurk in the shadow, but be easily identified and put out of business. Our first profile is a real snake in the grass, always lurking about, waiting to strike. Pay close attention so he can't operate unnoticed at your workplace.
When I hurt and kill people, I do it without even thinking. I don't have any control over what happens. When opportunity presents itself, I will strike. There is no end to the ways I can injure, maim, and kill. But you should know that I am very patient. And that may be my best, or rather, my worst trait.
Yes, this guy is a patient stalker. He bides his time, waiting to strike, as our first reenactment clearly shows. Keith Thompson noticed the damaged crane sling some time ago, but it seemed minor, so he kept using it.
We inspect our slings each day, so when we noticed the sling beginning to fray a bit, it didn't seem like a big deal, so we just kept using it.
The more they used the damaged sling without incident, the more they put it out of their mind. It just didn't seem to be a danger. After all, it was holding the loads just fine.
I was shocked when it happened, but in hindsight, I guess I shouldn't have been.
Keith fell victim to our perp's MO, laying in wait, often in plain view, knowing that even if he is spotted, many people will not take action until it's too late. We all need to be alert because this guy's stalking takes on many forms. It may be an unguarded machine, a defective tool or piece of equipment, a spill on the floor, or a damaged ladder. That's right, folks. An uncorrected hazard can cause injury and death at any time, unless we take action to prevent injury. If you see a hazard and can safely correct it, do it. If you don't know how or are not qualified to fix it, mark it in some manner and report it to someone who is authorized to fix it. Don't fall into his trap of ignoring it or hoping that someone else will do something. Waiting until an injury occurs is obviously too late. Our next perpetrator is a true parasite. She gets real close to her victims, drawing them in slowly, making them oblivious to her dangers. But unlike most parasites in nature who normally don't harm their host, she will suddenly turn against them without warning, leaving a devastating trail of injury or death.
My MO is genius, if I do say so myself. I simply pretend to be everyone's friend, always available to offer a helping hand, especially when they're feeling a little stressed or in a rush to finish a task. This is where I really shine, making your job easier, saving you some time, and helping you be more productive. A real win-win situation.
Friends and family are almost always surprised when their coworker or loved one fall victim to this heartless predator. But as our next reenactment shows, even the most careful worker can be lured by her siren song. Doug needed to remove the guard to adjust the chain tension on the drive assembly. The man lift he would normally use was in use, but there was a step ladder stored nearby, even though it was a little too short.
I convinced Doug the ladder would be fine. After all, how many times had he used it before without incident? Hundreds.
This is how Doug, a careful, experienced worker, ended up on the next to last step of a too short stepladder. And when he leaned out a little too far,
"Hey, Doug, I got the breeze gun here." Ah!
he and his family became yet another victim of this cold-blooded temptress.
I am a shortcut. And never make the mistake of thinking that I am your friend.
You are most at risk from a shortcut when you find yourself rushing. Rather than give in to the temptation of a shortcut, learn to recognize when you are at risk and use it as a trigger to redouble your safety efforts and be more cautious, not less. Defeat shortcuts by taking a moment to consider what you are doing and how to do it safely. Unfortunately, our next culprit is harder to control. His specialty is turning our own skill and experience against us.
I work a little different than the others. I don't like a lot of attention, so I make sure that people don't take much notice when I first come around. Besides, it's not about me, it's all about you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't need any help doing your job, right? You've been doing it for a long time. Who am I to offer any help to you? That's why you don't need to follow all their silly rules. You have the experience and the intelligence to do it your own way. Sure, we both know that rules and procedures are important, right? They help prevent injuries and mistakes. For the other people, not for you.
You see how this guy works? He really tries to get into your head. He works slowly and methodically. And over time, he attempts to turn your skills and experience against you, making you your own worst enemy. Here's an example. Richard has worked as a welder for many years. He understands the dangers involved in handling compressed gas cylinders. In fact, he has even trained the newer employees on the procedures for ensuring all cylinders are properly chained and have safety caps installed during transport and storage.
When the regulators come off, the caps go on.
Richard's years of experience led him astray when he decided to move a cart with unchained and uncapped cylinders. And when his cart got tangled up in an air hose, the tank fell over, shearing a valve. The sudden release of high-pressure gas turned the tank into an unguided missile, spreading flammable gas into the work area, which ignited a fire and caused severe injuries. One thing that makes complacency so dangerous is that it can affect us without our knowledge. However, its symptoms are usually obvious to others. In order to fight complacency, we must be willing to take action to prevent injury. This action is often as simple as speaking up. If you see a friend or loved one who fails to buckle up, you must be willing to speak up if you want to make a difference. We can take similar action at work. Even if you have less experience, speak up if you see a coworker working in an unsafe manner. It just might prevent an injury and will help prevent the unsafe act from influencing others. Well, that's all for this episode of Safety's Most Wanted. Now it's up to you. Until next time, I'm Tom Clark. Stay safe and remember, take action to prevent injury.